Okay, so
Mm.
Elon Musk and Tesla, right?
Yeah.
Always making headlines.
hmm
This week is no exception, even for them.
It's a lot to unpack.
It really is.
hmm
We're diving into, well, a mountain of reports and announcements, actually. Robotaxis,
Oh, yeah.
self-driving cars everywhere,
Everywhere.
robots making dinner, or at least that's the promise. What's the reality check? Let's find out.
You know, what I find really interesting is it's not just like they're saying, oh, we're going to make this a little better, this a little better. It's like they're trying to completely change how we live.
Right. Like how we get around, how we work, everything. It's like something in science fiction, but it's Tesla, so
You got to pay attention.
exactly. You kind of have to take them seriously, even if it sounds a little wild.
Yeah.
And they did drop this whole thing about Optimus,
Right.
this robot.
Well, and this is really the foundation for everything else we're going to talk about because Optimus is this humanoid robot that's their vision that will eventually be able to handle pretty much any task. I mean, you name it, from yard work to, yeah, maybe even babysitting.
A robot that can mow the lawn and wrangle kids.
That's the goal.
That's a tall order for anybody. But hey, if anyone can figure it out,
Right. Why not?
maybe it's Tesla. What are the chances this thing actually works, though? I mean, really?
Well, the technology is definitely still being developed, but if you think about it, the self-driving stuff that's already in their cars, that's basically a robot driving tons of metal at, pretty high speed. So Optimus is just taking those same concepts and, well, putting them in a different package.
I guess that's a good point. So, are we all getting robot butlers soon? What's the timeline on this thing?
Well, Musk has said he wants to get the price down to $20,000, which is ambitious, to say the least, when you think about how complex this technology is. So I think it's probably safe to say we're still looking at a few years, at least, before we see widespread adoption of something like Optimus.
Okay, a few years. So, not tomorrow, but maybe sooner than we think.
Yeah.
But even before we're getting our robot butlers, our cars are going to be doing a lot more of the driving themselves. They made this whole announcement about unsupervised full self-driving next year.
Yeah, and this is a big one. Unsupervised really means what it sounds like. The car is supposed to be able to handle roads, traffic, everything, totally on its own, no human intervention at all. They're planning to start testing it out in California and Texas first.
Figures. Those states are like the Wild West of self-driving cars right now. But Tesla's not just talking about putting this in like a special model or something. They want it in all their cars eventually.
Yeah.
Imagine your Cybertruck just driving itself.
Can you imagine? And that's where it gets really interesting. But there are some big hurdles they have to clear, especially when it comes to regulations. Every state has its own laws, so rolling this out nationwide, that's not going to be easy.
Yeah, it's a patchwork of regulations.
Exactly. And of course, the technology has to actually work flawlessly.
Right.
I mean, unsupervised driving, it's totally different from having a human there just in case something goes wrong. The stakes are a lot higher.
For sure. And it makes you wonder, if your car can drive you everywhere, do you even need to own one anymore? Maybe that's where Tesla's robotaxis come in.
Right. A dedicated robo-taxi, the Cybercab. This just went from a concept to an actual thing.
I saw the pictures.
No steering wheel, just this giant touchscreen for navigation and entertainment,
They even talked about a $30,000 price point,
which is amazing.
which is way cheaper than anything else in the ride-sharing market right now.
Yeah.
This thing could be a real Uber killer if it works the way they say it will.
Disruptive, to say the least.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then they're going even bigger with the Cybervan.
Right, right. So the Cybervan is this 20-passenger autonomous van, and they're really aiming to revolutionize public transportation with this one. Think about it. Schools, airports, company shuttles, all connected with these, efficient driverless vans.
It's a whole different world. I mean, it all sounds kind of amazing, but also a little overwhelming. Like a future with robot helpers and self-driving everything. That's a huge change.
And that's really what it comes down to. I mean, even if only half of what Tesla is talking about actually happens, the implications are massive.
It's huge.
It's not just about cars anymore. It's about rethinking our whole relationship with technology and how it impacts our everyday lives.
Exactly. And it's a conversation that's only just beginning, right?
Absolutely.
And if you're sitting there thinking, well, this is all very cool and futuristic, but
Right.
here's something to think about.
Yeah.
What happens if even one of these technologies really takes off?
Mhm.
How will you adapt? How will the world adapt?
Food for thought.
That's our deep dive for today.
Fascinating stuff.